Most people look at old distressed retail as dead real estate. Developers look at old dead retail as an opportunity to strategically reposition that property into a viable cash flowing machine, and I'm going to show you how. In 1999, when my construction company was thriving and I was sitting back looking at ways to afford an office to put my construction company into, it only made sense to do one thing, and that was to buy a building that was bigger than I needed. And the reason why is because I knew that if I could get the tenants to pay the excess rent for me in excess of what I needed, I would be mortgage free on the building. So as simple of a business model is just to go in, buy a building bigger than you need, put yourself in a position to be rent free so that you can go in and take advantage of your bottom line through your regular day in, day out business was attractive to me in 1999. So I went in and I said, okay, if I need an 800 square foot office and I need a half an acre for my construction yard, I went and bought an 8,500 square foot building. That 8,500 square foot building was 100% empty. And one thing I like to tell people about commercial real estate is that if the real estate is empty, the real estate is worth zero to the bank. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I just said. The real estate is worth $0 to the bank. So how do you buy it? Let me explain how we went out and acquired over 1 million square feet of retail with very little money out of pocket, utilizing no banks on the front end, but only utilizing banks on the back end as leverage to get lower debt, long-term stabilized rates, and cash flow in old distressed real estate. And there's two business models to understand here. First, let's talk about the acquisition. And second, let's talk about making it long-term viable for lower stress, increased profits, and a larger way to increase the value add and strategic repositioning of this old, distressed, ugly retail into multifamily and other cash flowing assets. One of the big things that I did in early years is there's two different business models here, and I'll explain both. Now, if you have a retail building, and if it's only 1/3 occupied, it's only worth the bank what is occupied. If the other second 2/3 is vacant, this is free. And so when we're looking at commercial assets, the banks will only assess the value of that asset based on this right here. Now, a lot of times, if it's empty, people understand that the building itself holds a value, typically a value less than the land itself. And so let's say, for sake of example, you go into an A++ area, and a piece of land is 1 acre big. And that 1 acre big land, let's say that that is selling for about, let's call it $800,000 for 1 acre in an A++ area, as high as $1 million, but let's call it 800K. Well, if we have this distressed retail building and this thing is 10,000 square feet, that's the abbreviation for square feet. Now, if we go in and we look at this from a real perspective, let's say that's 10,000 square feet. If it's 10,000 square feet, I look at it from a cost to build perspective. So what we do is we go in and we say, okay, 10,000 square feet, if it costs me $135 a square foot to build this shell out to the code requirements, and one thing about retail is that it's very inexpensive to build because you're building a shell. What's expensive is the parking lots, the offsite improvements, and the overall structure itself. The interiors are easy. You throw in some bathrooms, plumb it, and you're done. Some light fixtures in there, but we don't know what the tenant's going to be for most of them. If we do, it's called a tenant improvement. If there's a tenant improvement, the tenant pays for their improvements for their actual business, not the owner. And that's what most people don't realize about retail. Now, why do I teach you this? Because you have to understand this in order to buy. If you can't understand how to buy, you don't understand if it's a good deal, a bad deal, or if you're going to be able to go in and reposition this. How do you know you're getting the very best deal on this property? So now, the owner of this obviously is going to feel like there's a structure value and they're going to try to sell it for an inflated rate, okay? That's why dying shopping malls all over the country are such an undertaking, because what do you do with it? What do you do with 500,000 square feet of shopping mall or 250,000 square feet of shopping mall? Like, what do you do with that, right? And so it's really only worth the land it sits on, but now there's demolition, and now there's environmental issues, has asbestos, all kinds of different stuff that you have to worry about. And so now that just continues to increase the price of demolition. Now, when we go in, I look at it from a cost to build perspective. So if it costs me $135 a square foot to build this, that means that the structure itself is worth $1,350,000. Now, the land is only worth $800,000. But if we go in and let's say, I always say I have to use sub $100 a square foot to be able to buy these. So I look at it from a $40 per square perspective to a $70 per square foot perspective. I'm going to go low at $40 a square foot on every single purchase. So when we go in and I take this, the maximum I'd pay on a $10,000 times $70 a square foot is going to be about $700,000. That's a $100,000 discounted price off the retail price right here. But what's the cost for demolition, or what's the best use for that property? So I have to evaluate what that $100,000 variance is worth to me. Now, on the low end, you go in, you have 10,000 square feet times $40 a square foot, that's $400,000. So I'm going to spend between 400 to 700K on an $800,000 lot. This is the price, the value of the lot. So I have to evaluate how close can I get it here to the 400K versus the 700K to make the equity spread greater for me over the land value, okay? Now, I got two choices. Tear it down and rebuild, and now I go in, and if I get it $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, it's coming down. I'm just going to reposition the entire thing, and we're going to go vertical with a brand new asset. Now, but what if you can go in and, well, it takes you 6 months to entitle a 10-unit, 12-unit, 20, 30-unit multifamily development? What if you just simply go in and you just throw some lipstick on this thing? And so if we go in, we paint it, it's a shell. So we go in, we fix the front facade. Let's say we spend $25K fixing it up and just making it look good. We go in, we have 10,000 square feet. We rent it cheap. Retail goes for between $25 a square foot and $35 a square foot in Class A areas. What if we just simply went in there and rented it cheap for $15 a square foot? And let's say 15,000 times, so we go $15 times 10,000, and that's $150,000 times, let's say that we can only get it to 70% occupancy, or let's say even 60% occupancy. That's only $90,000, okay? 90K per year, okay? We do month-to-month lease, and we go in, and if it takes us 9 months to a year to get this thing out of the ground, we cash flow, we make money. Now, we're going in, and it's only going to be worth a certain margin to these folks. When we go in, if we can go in and we can reposition these, I've done larger retail where we'll go in and we'll market these properties with conceptual drawings, where we have a face facade that we're putting on this property, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million worth of value add. What the tenant doesn't know is I'm going to use their value add retail money to go in and do this. So for sake of example, if we bid their value add at $150 per square foot to build it out, but it only costs us $85 a square foot to build out the entire inside. If this is our cost, and we have, let's say we have 8,000 square feet, 8,000 times 150, that's $1.2 million for the build out, okay, that we're charging them. This is what we charge. Now, if it's $85, we have 8,000 square feet times $85, that's $680, so minus $680. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the variance to put back into the property, minus $1,200,000. That's a 550, so 560. So 560,000 net out off the TI, okay? Now, the bank is going to give us this money, not the tenant. The tenant was going to finance this through the bank. So now we have 560 in excess because that's the retail value of our value add, okay? We're building it out for cost. This is our cost right here at $85 a square foot. The variance is 560. This 560 is going to go for my buy down to be able to buy my interest rate down, buy my overall debt service down, and the overall acquisition price. In fact, this 560 might pay off the entire property for me, and I might be free and clear of an entire mortgage. Just based off one tenant improvement, 8,000 square feet, the building is now free, depending on the acquisition price. So ladies and gentlemen, plus we still have 2,000 square feet that cash flows. This is how we put over 1 million square feet of retail with no encumbrances, debt-free on our books in early years investing in real estate. If you want to learn the exact strategy of how to buy the right piece of land in the right area to build a house, if you want to learn the exact strategy that I've been utilizing for almost 3 decades, then text me the word land at 505-560-0520. Let's go ground up. Let's buy land. Let's build houses, and let's start right now. This is one of 2 ways, and real quick, the second way is what we predominantly do in most transactions in today's real world. Because the land value is so valuable and infill properties in A++ locations are sparse and hard to come by, physically and financially distressed properties are an attractive attribute for what we call strategic repositioning of that land and not the physical asset that's on the land. Because that land is worth $800,000, what we land up doing is we take this $800,000 piece of land on our retail value, and if we get that asset for $500,000 and it costs us $20,000 to demo the building, we go in for $520,000 and we don't demo it until we're ready to do construction, because we might do some short-term leases when we go in and we're waiting, or we might just let it sit there and do a long-term close with the actual owner. And everything we do is going to be on an owner finance contract, provided we close on this property before we're permit ready. We'll typically control the property without buying the property through simple options to purchase the property with parameters set in place, requiring the seller to allow us to meet the guidelines of approval through the municipalities, giving us the bandwidth for permits and financing on construction lending. Now, or if they don't allow that and it has to be a quicker acquisition, the developer positions themselves to go in and leverage what we call owner financing. The owner finances the property at a very low interest rate, giving us the bandwidth to secure the property, a project, and a future development worth exponentially more than the current value of that asset. So when we go in, we're going to take this $800,000 valued asset for $520,000. We have $280K in value in the land itself right off the bat, non-entitled. When we go in and entitle this property, it's going to be worth about $1.5 million real land value based on entitlements. So 6 months, 7 months later, this is the value of the land on a $520,000 acquisition. The entitlements might land up costing you $150,000 to $200,000 on the expensive end, which is still $700,000. Let's say you're $750,000 into this on the more expensive end. That $750,000 entitlements all in bears you a retail value of $1.5 million. Hence, you just doubled your money in value of your asset in less than 6 months, going in and purchasing an old retail building that most people look at as ugly real estate and non-valued in real estate, where we look at it as a strategic way to reposition the value of that asset of what it can be, not what it is today. Now we go in, we build out our development, we collateralize this as equity in our multifamily. And if we go out and we build a 20-unit multifamily that's worth $300,000 a door, for sake of example, let's go really low. Let's go $250,000 a door. 250 times 20 units, that's $5 million value. And we're all into that for $750,000 on the land. And we got a $1.5 million land valuation, and we go in and we profit. Ladies and gentlemen, strategically repositioning land that is financially and physically distressed is one of the #1 attributes that you can position yourself to take advantage of in an industry and a market that today is volatile, but positions you to leverage equity, profits, and cash flow off of an asset that other people would think is nothing more than garbage, but developers look at it as gold. For more great content just like this, and to understand how to value add retail, office, and other assets in a multifamily and compound your money, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pound that thumbs up button, give us love. If you're watching this on repeat, comment down below, #repeat. And until next time, God bless you, and go out and compound your success.